Hello, pleasantries to all. Let's get started. Officer Smith, one of the initial responding officers at 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, advised and walked Corporal Brett Payne through the crime scene around 4 p.m. shortly after Corporal Payne's arrival. At the scene of the residence, the Idaho State Police forensic team were on scene and were preparing to begin processing the scene. Corporal Payne and Officer Smith entered 1122 King Road residence through the bottom floor of the north side of the building. Officer Smith and Corporal Payne walked up the stairs to the second floor of the residence. Officer Smith then directed Corporal Payne down a hallway that led to the west bedroom on the second floor of the residence. This room was later identified to be Zana Cornadle's room. Just before the entrance of Zana's room, there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As Corporal Payne approached the room, he could see a body that was later identified as Zana laying on the floor. Zana was deceased with wounds that appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in this room was a deceased male, later identified as Ethan Chapin. He had wounds that were later identified as sharp force injuries. Corporal Payne then followed Officer Smith upstairs to the third floor of the 1122 King Road residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee Gonzalez's room. Upon responding to the scene, a responding officer identified as Officer Nunes had body cam footage of the initial police response that indicated there was a dog in the room when police arrived on scene. The dog belonged to and was shared by Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend Jack Decor. Officer Smith then pointed to a small bathroom on the east side of the third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogan's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the third floor. As Officer Payne entered the room, he could see 2 females in a single bed in the room. The women were identified as Madison and Kaylee. Both women were deceased with visible stab wounds. While Officer Payne was observing the crime scene in the bedroom identified as Madison Mogan's room, Officer Payne noticed what he believed to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Madison's right side. This sheath was visible from the doorway and was later processed. During the processing of the sheath, it was discovered that the sheath had markings on it that included K-Bar, USMC, and the United States Marine Corps' Eagle Globe, and another insignia stamped on the outside of it. After processing at the Idaho State Lab, a single source of male DNA was located on the button snap knife sheath. This DNA source was determined to be an unknown male DNA contributor that is most likely to be the suspect's DNA profile. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators found a latent shoe print. This print was located during the processing of the second floor of the crime scene. A presumptive blood test was conducted on this print, and a substance called amido black 10B was used on this shoe print. The detected shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of the Vans-type shoe sole. This print was located just outside the door of Dylan's bedroom. This is consistent with Dylan's statement that described the suspect's path of travel. A practice that is referred to as video canvass was conducted in the area of the 1122 King Road residence. This video canvass focused on obtaining any video in the area from the early morning hours of November 13, 2022, in the area of the 1122 King Road residence, the surrounding area, in an effort to locate the suspect or suspects vehicle traveling to or leaving from 1122 King Road residence. The canvass resulted in a collection of numerous surveillance videos in the area from both residential and business locations. This collection of videos were extensively analyzed by MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents, as well as Corporal Payne himself. A review of the camera footage indicated that a white sedan was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of the Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow. On this video, it appeared that the white sedan did not have a front license plate. Multiple video sources obtained from the King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of the white sedan starting at 3:29 a.m. on November 13, 2022 and ending at 4:20 a.m. This collection of King Road neighborhood cameras reveal that the white sedan passes by 1122 King Road residence and then leaves via Walenta Drive. Corporal Payne states that based off of his experience as a police officer, this is a residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. The neighborhood surveillance camera captured only a few cars that drive by in the area during this time frame. This vehicle is referred to as Suspect Vehicle 1 in an affidavit and in the timeline of events surrounding this crime in other portions of this video. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of the white sedan to forensic examiners with the FBI that regularly utilize surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by one or more cameras during the commission of a crime. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years law enforcement experience, 12 of which have been served at the FBI. The forensic examiner initially believed that Suspect Vehicle 1 was a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. The video evidence obtained from Washington State University campus in Pullman, Washington, was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner who identified the vehicle observed in Pullman, Washington, as being a 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. On November 25, 2022, Moscow Police Department asked area law enforcement agencies to be on the lookout for a white Hyundai Elantra in the area. As a result of the query, WSU police officer Daniel Tingo located a 2015 white Elantra with Pennsylvania license plate LFZ 8649. This vehicle was registered to Bryan Kohberger. Kohberger resided at 1630 Northeast Valley Road, apartment 201, Pullman, Washington. Kohberger's residence is approximately 3/4 of a mile from the intersection of the Stadium Way and Cougar Way, which is the last camera location that picked up the white sedan fitting the description of Suspect Vehicle 1. At approximately 12:58 on the same day, WSU Officer Curtis Whitman was also looking for a white Hyundai Elantra and located a 2015 Hyundai Elantra at 1630 Northeast Valley Road in Pullman in the parking lot. This apartment complex houses WSU students. Whitman also ran the car information. The information returned by this information inquiry came out as a positive match for Kohberger with Washington tags. Corporal Payne reviewed Kohberger's WA state driver license. The information and photograph indicated that Kohberger is a white male with a height of about 6 feet and weight of 185 pounds. The photograph of Kohberger also showed that he had bushy eyebrows. This description was consistent with the suspect description that Dillon gave police. On August 21, 2022, Bryan Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop that occurred in Moscow, Idaho. At the time, Latah County Sheriff Deputy CPL Duke's body camera footage showed that Kohberger was the sole occupant of the white 2015 Hyundai Elantra he was driving. The Elantra had Pennsylvania plates numbered LFZ 8649, and the plates were set to expire on November 30th, 2022. During the stop, BK's phone number was recorded as 8458, and the phone number was issued by AT&T service. On October 14, 2022, BK was detained as part of a traffic stop by a WSU officer. The body cam footage again shows Kohberger as the sole occupant and driver of the white 2015 Elantra with Pennsylvania plates. On November 18, 2022, Kohberger registered the 2015 white Elantra with the Washington State and received WA plate number CFB 8708. In Pennsylvania, license plates do not have to be displayed on the front of the vehicle, although Idaho and Washington require you to display your plates on both the front and the back of your vehicle. Further records show that Kohberger wrote an essay when he applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of 2022. In his essay, Kohberger wrote that he had an interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. Kohberger also posted a Reddit survey, which can be found by an open-source internet search. The survey asked for participants to provide information to understand how emotions and psychological traits influence decision-making when committing a crime. By police officers from the Washington State University campus located in Pullman, Washington, showed that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13, 2022, a white sedan that fits the description of suspect vehicle 1 was observed on the WSU surveillance camera traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 2:42 a.m., a cell phone that was identified as Bryan Kohberger's, that is being called 8458 phone for the sake of this video, was utilizing cell resources that was consistent with the cell phone coverage at the Pullman apartments where Kohberger resided. At approximately 2:47, the phone used cellular resources that provide coverage southeast of Kohberger's apartment, which is consistent with Kohberger traveling south through Pullman, Washington, soon after the phone stops reporting to any network. At approximately 2:53 a.m., a white sedan consistent with suspect vehicle 1 can be observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington towards SR 270. SR 270 connects Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. The car can be seen driving eastbound on King Road. The car stops and turns around in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, and then drives back. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the 1122 King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen continuing to the intersection of King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. The car is next observed traveling southbound on Walenta Drive. Based on Corporal Payne's knowledge of the area and camera footage of neighborhoods that do not show suspect vehicle 1 during the time frame, Corporal Payne believes that suspect vehicle 1 likely exited the neighborhood at Palos River Drive and Conestoga Drive. Paulus River Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Whitman County, Washington. Eventually, the road leads to Pullman, Washington. Pullman, Washington is approximately 10 miles from Moscow, Idaho. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan fitting the description of suspect vehicle 1 was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, and on the WSU campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan fitting the description of suspect vehicle 1 was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman, Washington. The car was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to the West Paulus River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga Drive. The car was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on SR 270. At approximately 5:27 a.m., the car was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at the Grimes Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and Stadium Way at Cougar Way. The phone does not connect back to a network until approximately 4:48 a.m. November 13th, 2022, which is consistent with coverage provided in Idaho State Highway 95 south of Moscow, Idaho. Between 4:50 and 5:26 a.m., the phone utilizes cellular resources that are consistent with 8458 phone traveling south on ID State Highway 95 to Gunness, Idaho, west towards Uniontown, Idaho, and then north back into Pullman, Washington. And then cell phone travel is consistent with traveling back to Kohberger's residence at approximately 5:30 a.m. This is consistent with the movement of the white Elantra. Further review of the cell phone 8458 phone records show the phone utilized cellular resources on November 13th, 2022 that are consistent with leaving Kohberger's apartment at approximately 9 a.m. and traveling to Moscow, Idaho. The 8458 phone utilizes cellular resources between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. These resources would provide coverage to the 1122 King Road residents. 8458 phone utilizes cellular resources that are consistent with 8458 phone traveling back to the area of Kohberger's residence and arriving in the area at approximately 9:32 a.m. Phone 8458 did not connect to any cell phone towers that provide service to Moscow on November 14th, 2022, and has not connected to any cell phone towers that provide service to Moscow since that date. Further phone data records show that phone 8458 was in an area utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage to the area of 1122 King Road on at least 12 occasions prior to the November 13th, 2022 murders. All of these occasions except one occurred in the late evening and early morning hours of their respective days. On one of these occasions, on August 21st, 2022, phone 8458 was in the area of 1122 King Road residents from 10:34 to 11:35 p.m. More phone data shows that surveillance footage shows that pings from Bryan Kohberger's phone, video footage of Bryan Kohberger, and video footage of the white Hyundai Elantra show that all three subject matters have been in the same location at the same time at multiple locations. This indicated that phone 8458 and a white Hyundai Elantra can be linked to and are most likely owned by Bryan Kohberger. On December 27, 2022, Pennsylvania agents recovered the trash from the Kohberger family residence located in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania. That evidence was sent to the Idaho State Lab for testing. On December 28, 2022, the Idaho State Lab reported that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father of the suspect profile. At least 99.9998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father.